Honey, you get these back. Sorry.
Mr. Peter, did you want these back? Maybe not. Did you want the individual ones back?
Oh no, you can hold on to those.
Yeah, they were asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone's sitting in this chair.
Yes, ma'am, that's for the board.
I know it's in the board.
Yes,
I was just checking.
yes.
We just need to know where we can run our cord in.
Oh, you want to run it down on your?
Yeah, fine.
Well, I just come in with that.
Just come down there.
Take this one over
You
to
know,
that side of the
I
table.
think Mr. Sullivan
What do you want?
today, I'm not sure, I can't remember somebody.
That's Ann.
Ann here,
Yeah,
okay.
put that. Sorry. So, run it.
You can just kind of set it there.
This is all still set up the way it was?
Then come into the county. We got about 50 miles, turn left, turn right, get east. We get south of Tallahassee, move across the state.
I'm just gonna collect all
They got a lot of room.
Yeah, we got some. I got some.
No, I'll be here, I guess.
I like your tie. I had one like that one as a kid. You know what my mother did? I wore that every Sunday. It had sunglasses on. Oh, well, she fixes me.
Is that blurry? Is that blurry for a reason, or is that?
I don't know if that's taking pictures. That's just picking up sound.
Exactly right.
What are you talking about?
Where we want it.
Okay. Back to the cameras. I mean, the only thing is you can get out.
No.
Mr. Sizemore, are you still with us?
Okay.
I'm still here, Bob.
Okay.
He called you in?
He did. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and you have the agenda in front of you. After the consent agenda, Ms. Baldwin has a document that she would like to give each and every one of you a copy. And Ms. Baldwin, if you'll just take just a couple minutes and explain what it is. We're not going to discuss it or anything like that, but just kind of tell what it is in just a couple of minutes whenever we get to that point. And so we have the agenda. We don't really have a flag, so we can't say the pledge of allegiance, I guess, can we? But I would like to have a moment of silence before we start the meeting, if that's okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. All right. So let's just bow our heads for a moment of silence real quick. thank you very much. We met in closed session a few minutes ago. We discussed, we had some attorney-client privileged information that we discussed, and we had a personnel matter that we discussed. Moving on to the action agenda for today. Here she goes. All right, so we have the budget amendment number 9 to close out the 2011-12 school year. Is there a motion to approve the amendment number 9?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? And just, let's see. Okay, any questions? Discussion, questions? No?
Well,
I did have a question. When it was posted online, I know we got a lot of information late this time. Does anybody, Ms. Parker knows when this was posted?
Yeah, from Ms. Jackson, was it Monday?
Yeah, I sent an email out to the board for the budget amendment or the budget resolution. The resolution was posted earlier.
Well, and I think it's important for everyone to realize that there are literally last-minute changes that have to be made in order to fully utilize the budget, just as a general statement. And that's part of the efficiency of our finance department is making sure we're utilizing every penny that we possibly can in our budget. And that's nothing has been more important, especially in the times that we have to work with our funding. We have to make sure that we're utilizing every penny, and sometimes that requires some last minute changes. So.
I mean, I thought it was a good explanation. I really don't have any questions. The only, just a comment, I thought it'd be interesting, and I'm sure I've run across this or will run across this, but, and this is such a small piece, but the percentage of our budget that's grants seems to be, I would anticipate something like that. It'd be interesting to see that trended. No at all rush, but that'd be an interesting thing. I think that's something the school system wants to do, and so it'd be interesting to have it in front of us to see if we're actually doing that. That's just a thought.
Ms. Parker, and I know this is probably too early to ask this question, but do you have any idea at this point where we stand in our budget, especially in I think our local funding has pretty much stayed the same from previous year. Do you have any idea where we're going to fall with our state funding as
Well, I just had just rehearsed that I was with a reporter until just moments ago.
Didn't the governor just veto that budget this morning?
Well, she said she was going to. I don't know if she's actually signed it, but I listened to her press conference. It's on the WRAL website, the local ABC affiliate there. And I think she did a pretty good job of explaining why she felt it necessary to veto it. When I first heard it, I was shocked. But as I was telling Julie Ball, we prepared the budget that we brought to you with our long-range financial plans was based on the second year of the biennium budget the General Assembly passed last year. And with the newer budget that the General Assembly passed, there was about a $2.4 million reduction in the amount of funding we have to pay to the state. But there was also a considerable tightening up of the ABC transfers and how we can use those. And there was also a 1.2% pay raise that at the very last minute, kind of overnight, changed from a one-time payment to something that affected the base. And most people may think, well, what does it matter, if it's one time or ongoing? But if it's ongoing, it affects the local supplement cost. If it's a one-time payment, it doesn't. So all of a sudden, that got thrown in there. And just my kind of gut level feeling was that was all going to kind of balance out. I didn't think there, would be a huge amount more money than we had anticipated happening, because particularly that restriction on the ABC transfers.
So we could potentially lose more of our flexibility
Well,
in that.
that was part and parcel of the package of the thing. That's the reason budget was they were restricting our ability to increase it beyond what they thought they were giving us. You know, I guess the best way I can think of to explain that. So my overall feeling was that the version that came out of the General Assembly, I think on June 21st or whatever, might have been slightly more favorable to us in terms of our being able to expand our programs or services, but it wouldn't have been a revolutionary change. So the latest thinking is that probably there is not going to be an override or veto. That was what NCASA put out this morning. If that happens, we will have the budget that was passed last year, which is what we've been planning for ever since last year. So, and we're in a better situation, I think, than most other units in the state because we've saved half of our energy jobs now. So, you know, we weren't planning to have to make any more staffing cuts or programmatic cuts this next year. So, you know, we'll, if it's not overridden, we'll proceed with the plan we've had all along. If it is overridden and we've got that new concept that came, it'll all depend on how those three factors balance out. The pay increase, which is now going to affect local much more than it would have because it's into base. The restrictions on the ABC transfers, you know, which will reduce my ability to kind of multiply the funds to the loaven fishes number. I like that better than the Sheldon number. So, you know, and, you know, so we're going to have to wait to sort it out. But in either case, you know, I think that financing plan that we had is still viable, and things might be a little better than that, but I don't think they're going to be any worse because we already banked on the second year of biennial budget. So.
And just to follow up on that ABC transfer, if you don't have the answer right now, I certainly understand, but do you have a rough idea of how much state money we were unable to use because?
Oh, I know exactly how much state money we were
because of losing that flexibility, and I think it's important that everyone understand that.
It was well over $4 million. That budget resolution, if you look at the state public school fund, it says $134,000. Our actual expenditures were $129 million.
So $4 million in state
the
money
positional
that we were not able.
And I actually have a little chart. I debated giving it to you.
Okay.
Tony said, no. They're never going to understand it. It's going to take too long to try to explain it. But yeah, there's over $4 million in the position allotments that I had to leave on the table because I was not able to do the transfers that I was last year. Last year, I left $1 million on the table because it was more restricted than the year before, in which I got $1 million more than they thought they were giving me because of the transfers. So the swing, you know, over a 2-year period, just from those little words when they, you know, you don't think it relates to money when they talk about the ABC transfers. There's, I think it was $5.8 million swing over 2 years in how I was able to use the positional allotments because of restrictions. And now they're talking about getting more restrictive yet.
So we could actually go above $4 million next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And for the board, the efficiency work that there's a private CPA firm that worked with school systems on efficiency and saving money, wasn't it ABC transfers and low web funding and other pots of money that they were using with the loads and fish approach? Isn't that how they were showing the savings?
Yeah,
to the school system?
absolutely.
So Buncombe County's doing what other systems have been shown by others to do.
Yeah, in fact,
This will affect
two
those
kind of
systems.
principles that Hank Hurd, who was in Durham at the time, and Ricky Lopes, who's still in Cumberland, works with him. I mean, the three of us were the ones that kind of talked about this concept and got it going to begin with. So.
Did they talk about that going away at the conference? Because I know Ricky Lopes, was that a big thing that Ricky said, talk about it?
Thing, it was mentioned.
But he did talk about the fact that that would reduce the availability of funding positions.
Well, they sent me a copy of your PowerPoint, and they actually have not updated